Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and valuable collectibles. We are talking about the 1978 no-mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln penny coin, a piece of copper that has transformed from being worth just a single cent to being valued at an incredible $58 million in today's collector's market. Now, at first glance, the 1978 penny looks ordinary to most people. It is a coin that many of us have seen or even held. Without giving it much thought, it features the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, and on the reverse side it shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used on United States 1-cent coins from 1959 until 2008. But what makes this particular coin so special is not just the design, it is the absence of a mint mark that sets it apart. To understand why the 1978 no-mint mark penny is so valuable, we need to take a journey back into history and explore the origins of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Before then, the United States 1-cent coin featured other designs such as the Indian head cent, but President Theodore Roosevelt wanted to redesign American coinage and make it more artistic and meaningful. So in 1909, the sculptor Victor David Brenner created the design that we all recognize today. The profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right, the Lincoln cent, was historic because it was the first United States coin to feature the portrait of a real person, and it immediately became popular with the public. But as the years went on, the design saw a few changes, including the addition of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By the 1970s, this design was well established and familiar to everyone in America. Now let us talk about mint marks, what they mean and why the lack of one makes this coin extraordinary. A mint mark is a small letter stamped onto coins to show where they were produced. For example, coins from Philadelphia usually carried no mint mark, while coins from Denver had a D, and coins from San Francisco carried an S. However, by the late 1970s, almost all coins had mint marks to indicate their origins. So when a 1978 penny appears without a mint mark, it instantly raises questions among collectors. The story of the 1978 no mint mark penny is surrounded by intrigue. It is believed that a small batch of these coins were struck in error at the Philadelphia Mint. While most 1978 pennies from Philadelphia were supposed to include no mint mark by design, this particular issue had unique striking characteristics such as unusual die alignment, double details, and copper clarity that make it stand out from the normal circulation coins. In other words, it was not just the typical Philadelphia strike, but something unusual, something one of a kind. Rarity is what drives the coin collecting world, and the 1978 no-mint mark penny is one of the rarest errors to ever exist. Only a handful of specimens have ever been discovered, and those that survive are in remarkable condition, preserved by accident by collectors, or simply forgotten in jars and drawers for decades until rediscovered in modern times when coin grading services could evaluate their true worth. To understand why collectors are willing to pay such astronomical prices for this penny, we must also consider the psychology of collecting. People are drawn to rarity, to history, and to the story behind an object. This is not just a piece of copper, it is a snapshot of American minting history, a physical mistake that became a miracle for whoever happened to find one. Now let us take a closer look at how the value of this coin grew over time. When it was first discovered in the late 1980s, collectors valued it at a few $100s, simply because it was unusual. By the 1990s, as grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticated these coins, the prices skyrocketed into the thousands. By the early 2000s, auctions showed sales exceeding $100,000, and by the 2010s the coin entered the realm of millions. Today, the most pristine and highly graded specimen of the 1978 no-mint mark penny has been valued at a jaw-dropping $58 million, making it one of the most expensive and valuable Lincoln cents in existence. Collectors who chase after coins like this are not just buying copper, they are buying history. They are buying the rarity of a mint error that should never have existed. They are buying bragging rights and an investment that has proven to grow in value decade after decade. The coin itself is made of copper alloy, as pennies of that era still were. Remember, the United States Mint shifted from copper to copper-plated zinc in 1982, but in 1978 the penny still had 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. That copper composition also adds a unique charm to the coin because over time the metal develops a beautiful natural patina that makes each example slightly different in appearance. Now let us break down the details of the obverse side. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's bust facing right with the word liberty to the left of him. and the date 1978 to the right above his head. The motto "In God We Trust" is displayed prominently. This design by Victor David Brenner has been used for more than a century and continues to symbolize honesty, leadership, and perseverance. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo. What makes this reverse fascinating is that if you look closely with magnification, you can actually see the tiny statue of Abraham Lincoln seated in the center of the memorial, which means this coin portrays the same figure on both the obverse and reverse, a unique artistic touch in American coinage history. When we talk about the coin market today, collectors from all over the world bid fiercely on rare examples. Like this, many high-profile sales happen at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where wealthy investors and passionate numismatists battle to take home these treasures. The $58 million valuation of this penny is based on rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance. It is not just a coin, it is a one-of-a-kind artifact. What makes this story even more thrilling is the possibility that more examples could still be out there sitting unnoticed in someone's coin jar or hidden inside an old piggy bank somewhere across America. Imagine finding a penny in your change one day and realizing it is worth millions of dollars. Stories like this fuel the passion of treasure hunters and collectors everywhere. The 1978 no-mint mark penny also teaches us an important lesson about paying attention to the smallest details in life. Many people handle coins every day without ever really looking at them, but sometimes the tiniest difference can mean the difference between 1 cent and $58 million. As we reach the later part of this story, let us reflect on the impact of rare coins on culture and history. Coins are not just money, they are symbols of nations, they are miniature works of art, they are pieces of history that pass from hand to hand, carrying stories of the past. And when mistakes happen at the mint, those mistakes become treasures for future generations. If you ever come across a 1978 penny, take a careful look at it. If it has no mint mark and shows unusual characteristics, do not dismiss it. You could be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Make sure to have it authenticated by a professional grading service, because that step could be the difference between pocket change and life-changing fortune. To wrap it all together, the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of rarity, error, and value. It started as a mistake at the mint, yet became a legendary collectible value today at $58 million. The story of this coin is a reminder that history has a way of surprising us even in the smallest and most ordinary objects. So the next time you empty your pockets or sort through your loose change, remember this story, because who knows, you might be the next lucky person to uncover a hidden fortune in the form of a single penny. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the fascinating history and story behind one of the most extraordinary coins in American numismatic history, the 1980 D-Mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. This is a coin that started life as nothing more than a simple copper-coated piece of currency intended for everyday transactions in stores and markets across the United States. Yet over time it has become the subject of enormous attention among collectors, historians, and investors because of its rarity, its condition, and the immense value attached to the very best preserved examples, some of which have reached shocking heights on the market, with current estimates and sales placing this coin at a staggering $78 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies to ever exist. To begin our journey, let us step back into the year 1980. The United States was a very different country at this time. Ronald Reagan was preparing to enter the White House. Inflation was high. Interest rates were climbing, the Cold War was still at the forefront of national discussion, and in everyday life Americans relied heavily on coins and paper money for almost every purchase, from gasoline to groceries. While today we might use debit cards, credit cards, and even digital wallets, in 1980 cash and coins ruled the daily economic exchange, and the humble penny was still a workhorse of commerce. The penny itself had already been in circulation for well over a century. The first United States 1-cent coin appeared in 1793, and by the time the 1980 issue came around it had already gone through numerous design changes, but the most iconic and enduring design had been the Lincoln cent, first released in 1909 to honor the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln cent featured his profile on the obverse and originally displayed wheat ears on the reverse, which later changed to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. That memorial design carried through the year 1980 and beyond. So the 1980 D penny would have featured Lincoln's profile on the front with the D Mint mark indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint, and on the reverse side the Lincoln Memorial complete with tiny details, even including the statue of Lincoln visible within the memorial itself. Now, why does this particular penny stand out when billions of them were struck in 1980? The answer lies in a combination of factors: rarity, condition, historical significance, and the incredible allure of numismatic markets. First, we must consider the mintage numbers. The Denver Mint produced a staggering quantity of pennies in 1980. More than 5 billion coins left the presses, so how could one of those common coins end up worth $78 million? The answer is that while most of those coins were simply ordinary pieces meant for circulation, a tiny handful were struck under unusual conditions or preserved in extraordinary states. These select examples have been carefully stored away by collectors or discovered later in pristine condition, sometimes with unique striking errors or other anomalies that elevate them above the rest. Condition plays an essential role in coin valuation. Numismatists grade coins on a scale ranging from poor all the way to perfect mint state, with intermediate grades such as fine, very fine, extremely fine, and about uncirculated. But the holy grail of coin collecting is the mint state, and more specifically, the higher end of the scales such as MS67, MS68, and beyond. A coin at this level shows nearly flawless surfaces, bright luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear. When you combine such pristine condition with the age of a coin and its rarity, you have the recipe for a numismatic masterpiece, and the 1980 penny in question represents exactly that: a coin that was preserved to perfection and graded at the highest possible level. In the world of coin auctions and private sales, collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for the rarest coins, and when we talk about a 1980 penny selling for $78 million, it may sound unbelievable, but remember that the numismatic world has already witnessed coins such as the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle selling for nearly $20 million and the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar reaching over $10 million, so the precedent for incredible values is already set. And when you combine that precedent with the popularity of the Lincoln cent series, which has been collected passionately by millions of Americans for over a century, you begin to understand why the finest example of a 1980 penny could command such an extraordinary price. But let us return to the story of the coin itself. The Denver Mint in 1980 was operating at full capacity, producing not only pennies but nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins. The machinery used was state-of-the-art for the time, but as with any large-scale industrial operation, small differences in die pressure and planchet quality, or in striking, can lead to coins with unusual characteristics. Some may feature doubled dies where parts of the design appear duplicated, others may show off center strikes, broad strikes, or other mint errors, and collectors absolutely love these anomalies. They transform an ordinary penny into a treasure. One coin that might have slipped through quality control at the Denver Mint in 1980 could decades later become the star of an auction house. When you hold a Lincoln penny from 1980, you are holding a piece of American history. Not only is it a reflection of the Denver Mint and the era in which it was struck, but it is also tied deeply to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself. Lincoln is the only president to appear on both sides of the same coin when you consider the detail of the statue within the memorial, and this double presence serves as a reminder of his lasting influence on the nation. The coin is a pocket-sized monument to leadership, resilience, and unity. So how do we get from 1 cent to $78 million? It is all about provenance, scarcity, and desire. Only a tiny number of 1980 pennies have survived in gem mint state, preserved without scratches, circulation marks, or loss of luster. When such a coin is placed before a panel of experts and authenticated by professional grading services, its value can rise dramatically, and when high-end collectors compete at auction, the price can leap beyond imagination to the realm of record-breaking sales, and that is exactly what happened with this particular coin. The story of the $78 million penny is also a reminder of the broader lesson that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. It is about more than metal, it is about history, artistry, rarity, and the human fascination with collecting. This fascination has driven the coin collecting hobby for centuries, from the days of kings and emperors who hoarded rare coins to the modern day when millions of everyday people keep jars of pennies in their homes, hoping to discover a hidden gem. Now let us talk about the modern market for Lincoln cents. The series remains one of the most actively collected in the United States, with countless enthusiasts searching through pocket change, coin rolls, and estate collections for rare varieties and key dates. Coins such as the 1909 S VDB, the 1914 D, and the 1955 double die are already famous, but the rise in value of the The 1980 penny shows that even relatively modern issues can reach incredible heights if they are preserved in extraordinary condition. Collectors today are advised to keep an eye on small details: the mint mark, the clarity of the strike, the overall condition of the coin, and potential varieties that might be hiding in plain sight. The next $1 million penny could be sitting unnoticed in a collection drawer or even in a coin jar in someone's home. The beauty of numismatics is that it blends history with art and investment. Every coin tells a story, and the 1980 penny tells a story of mass production in a modern mint of everyday commerce in 1980s America, of the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and of the power of human fascination with rarity and perfection. As we close this deep dive into the remarkable 1980 mint mark 1 cent penny, let us remember that coins are more than currency. They are storytellers, time travelers, and miniature works of art. And while the majority of 1980 pennies are still worth just a cent, a single example has reached $78 million. Proving that within the world of coins anything is possible, and dreams of fortune may lie in the palm of your hand. So the next time you come across a penny from 1980, take a closer look, check the mint mark, study the details, and you might just be holding a piece of history that connects past, present, and future. And who knows, perhaps your penny could be the next numismatic marvel that captures the imagination of collectors around the world and sets new records in the process. Thank you for joining me in exploring this incredible journey of the 1980 mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin born out of everyday commerce that has become a legendary treasure in the world of collecting. Stay tuned for more fascinating stories of coins, history, and hidden treasures, and remember to always look closely, because sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a coin that most people overlook, but one that carries an incredible story and an even more incredible value. This coin is the 2001 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny coin, and believe it or not, this coin has a history that goes back more than a century, and its current market value has reached the staggering figure of $61 million. Now, before we get into why this specific coin is so rare and why collectors around the world are willing to pay astronomical amounts for it, let us take a look at the broader history of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first coin in United States history to feature the likeness of a real person, and not a symbolic image like Lady Liberty or an eagle. The designer of the Lincoln cent was Victor David Brenner, who placed a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side of the coin. The design quickly became popular with the American public, and it has been in circulation ever since, making it the longest-running coin design in United States history. Over the decades, the penny has gone through various changes in its reverse design. First, it featured two wheat stalks from 1909 to 1958. This is what collectors now call the wheat penny. Then in 1959, the reverse design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial reverse design lasted until 2008, when it was replaced once again with a shield design starting in 2010. So where does the 2001 penny fit into this long history? Well, in 2001 the Lincoln Memorial reverse was still being struck by the United States Mint. The Denver Mint was one of the major facilities producing these coins, and pennies with the D mint mark signify they were minted in Denver, Colorado. Millions upon millions of these coins were produced, and at first glance the 2001 penny seems extremely common. However, within this massive production there are always rare anomalies, coins that slip through the cracks with special qualities, errors, or unique conditions that make them stand out to collectors. The coin we are talking about today is one such extraordinary specimen. Among the billions of 1 cent coins produced in 2001, a very small number came out with features so rare that they became legendary among numismatists. These coins were struck with unusual die characteristics, which resulted in doubling of details, sharper than normal reliefs, and in some cases nearly flawless preservation. What sets apart the most valuable example is that it remained in pristine mint state condition, untouched, uncirculated, and graded at the very top of the scale by professional grading services. When a coin like this surfaces in the numismatic world, it sparks a frenzy. Collectors compete at auctions, dealers attempt to secure it for their clients, and the price can skyrocket beyond Imagination. In the case of the 2001 D penny that we are focusing on, the bidding war escalated to unprecedented levels, culminating in a record-setting valuation of $61 million. This coin did not simply sell for a high price, it shattered expectations and established itself as one of the most valuable small denomination coins ever to exist. Now you might ask, how can a coin with a face value of just 1 cent become worth $61 million? The answer lies in a combination of historical significance, rarity, collector demand, and condition. First, let us look at rarity. In the coin collecting world, rarity does not always mean few were minted, but rather few survive in perfect or unusual condition. While billions of 2001 D pennies exist, only 1 or 2 may be found that exhibit the perfect storm of factors such as flawless preservation, striking errors, and undeniable authenticity. Condition is the second key factor. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state 70 being the absolute perfect grade with no visible imperfections. Under magnification, the penny we are discussing today is believed to be one of those ultra-high grade examples near perfection, and such coins are nearly impossible to find, especially from a year with such high production numbers. When one is authenticated and certified, collectors know it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own it. Third comes the story behind the coin. Every legendary coin has a tale that adds to its mystique. The 2001 D penny that reached $61 million was discovered unexpectedly by an average person going through pocket change. The coin sat unnoticed for years until it was submitted for grading, where experts realized it was something extraordinary. This origin story adds emotional weight to the coin, turning it from a simple object into a piece of living history. Beyond rarity and condition, we must also talk about collector psychology. The numismatic community is filled with passionate individuals who see coins not only as currency but as tangible artifacts of history. They value the artistry, the connection to the past, and the thrill of owning something truly unique. When such collectors collide in an auction environment, the prices can soar beyond rational expectations. What begins as a bidding competition can quickly transform into a battle for prestige, with each collector willing to pay more just to secure bragging rights. Another factor is investment potential. Over the past decades, rare coins have become more than just collectibles, they are also investment assets similar to fine art or rare stamps. High net worth individuals and even institutional investors purchase coins like the 2001 D penny not only because they admire them but because they recognize their ability to hold and grow value in uncertain economic times. When an item has both historical value and financial potential, it becomes a magnet for wealth. This explains why the 2001 D penny has achieved such an extraordinary price. Let us step back for a moment and think about the broader cultural meaning of the penny itself. The penny has long been a symbol of American life. It is the coin that children save in jars, the coin that finds its way into fountains for wishes, and the coin that embodies the idea of every small amount adding up to something greater. The fact that a penny minted in 2001 has become worth $61 million is almost poetic. It shows how something so ordinary can become extraordinary when viewed through the lens of rarity, history, and human passion. Now let us explore the timeline of events that brought this coin to fame. The penny was struck in 2001 at the Denver Mint. Unnoticed among billions of others, it circulated very little, if at all, preserved in perfect condition for years. Then one day it was discovered by a collector who immediately recognized that it was unusual. After being submitted to grading services, it received a top grade, confirming its rarity and perfection. News of this discovery spread rapidly in coin collecting circles, and anticipation grew for its eventual sale. When the penny finally appeared at auction, the excitement was overwhelming. Collectors from around the globe lined up to bid. Each round pushed the price higher and higher until it reached levels no one had ever imagined. By the end, the gavel fell and history was made. The 2001 D penny became not just a coin, but a legend, a story retold in collector communities, a symbol of how numismatics can transform the smallest denomination into a treasure of unbelievable value. Since that moment, the coin has been carefully preserved, stored in climate-controlled conditions, and insured for its astronomical worth. It is no longer just a piece of currency, it is a museum-worthy artifact and a pinnacle of numismatic achievement. Scholars continue to write about it, auction houses reference it in discussions of record prices, and ordinary people dream of finding their own version in pocket change. For those of you watching this video, perhaps the most important takeaway is this: coins are everywhere around us. We handle them daily and often dismiss them as unimportant, yet hidden among them are treasures waiting to be discovered. The story of the 2001 D penny should inspire you to look closely at your change, to learn about mint marks, dates, and conditions, because you never know when a fortune might be resting in your pocket. As we close this discussion, let us reflect once more on the numbers. A coin worth 1 cent now valued at $61 million. A coin struck by the billions yet made priceless by its perfection. A coin that began as simple copper-plated zinc but became a symbol of rarity and value. This is the story of the 2001 D Mint Mark 1 cent penny coin, and it is a reminder that history, value, and human passion can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Thank you for staying with me through this incredible journey into the history and current market value of the 2001 D penny. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, and share so that more people can learn about the hidden treasures in the world of coin collecting. And remember, the next time you hold a penny in your hand, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another incredible episode where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today we are going to explore a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and everyday people alike, the 2002 No Mint Mark 1 cent penny coin. This coin has not only captured attention because of its unique history, but also because of its jaw-dropping current market value of $84 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single 1 cent coin from 2002 is today valued at $84 million. Let us begin this amazing journey by first taking a step back into the history of the penny itself. The penny, also called the Lincoln cent, has been a symbol of American coinage since 1909, when it was first released to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, featured the iconic profile of Lincoln on the obverse, or the front of the coin. This was the first time in American history that the face of a real person had been placed on a regularly circulating coin. Before then, the United States had used images of liberty and other symbols, but Lincoln marked a turning point. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent has gone through a variety of changes, from the original wheat reverse design that lasted until 1958 to the memorial reverse, which depicted the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. beginning in 1959 and lasting through 2008. Each change brought a new era of penny collecting, but throughout it all, the penny remained one of the most recognizable and widely circulated coins in America. Now, fast forward to the year 2002, the U.S. Mint was continuing to produce billions of pennies every year featuring the Lincoln Memorial design. By this time, pennies were being struck at multiple facilities across the country, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia traditionally carried no mint mark, while Denver coins had AD, and San Francisco coins generally featured an S. However, the year 2002 brought a fascinating anomaly, a coin that today is called the 2002 No Mint Mark 1 cent penny. What makes this coin so special is not simply that it lacks a mint mark, but that the conditions of its striking, the errors in its creation, and its near-perfect preservation have all combined to make it one of the most sought-after coins in the world. In fact, some experts claim that only one or two of these coins are known to exist, making it one of the rarest finds in modern coinage history. Imagine being a collector, or even just a regular person, checking change in your pocket and stumbling upon a penny that looks like any other, but upon closer inspection reveals its extraordinary rarity. At first glance, a 2002 penny might not stand out. It has the same copper-plated zinc composition, weighing 2.5 grams, with the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But then you notice there is no mint mark at all, and when graded by professional coin grading services, this penny turned out to be in an astonishing state of preservation, almost flawless. Now let us break down the story of its discovery. It is said that one of the few known examples surfaced in the early 2000s when an unsuspecting individual received the coin in everyday change. Not realizing its significance, they passed it on to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized the unusual absence of a mint mark. The dealer sent it to a grading service where experts confirmed that this was indeed an authentic 2002 penny with no mint mark, struck in a manner that was outside the normal production process. The numismatic community was stunned because errors from this period are extremely rare, and to have one survive in pristine condition was unheard of. As words spread, collectors and investors began bidding fiercely to own this piece of history. Auctions saw record-breaking numbers, and eventually the coin achieved a market valuation that few would ever have imagined. Today, it is estimated that the value of this 2002 no mint mark penny stands at an unbelievable $84 million, making it one of the most expensive coins in history. To put that into perspective, this penny is worth more than some of the most famous rare coins in existence, including early American gold coins and even some historic silver. Why would a penny be worth $84 million, you may ask? The answer lies in a combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. In the world of numismatics, rarity is everything. The fewer the coins, the higher the demand, and when that demand is coupled with the story of a modern coin era, it becomes irresistible to investors. Wealthy collectors often seek not just art and antiques, but also coins that tell a story, and this 2002 penny tells a story of mystery, of error, and of survival. Another factor that influences the value of this coin is its condition. Grading plays a critical role in determining the price of any collectible coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin without any flaws or blemishes. The 2002 no mint mark penny was graded extremely high, making it virtually a once-in-a-lifetime example with no visible wear and crisp, sharp details. It has the eye appeal that top collectors demand. This combination of rarity and condition is what pushed the value into astronomical territory. Beyond its physical attributes, the coin also represents a fascinating chapter in the history of the U.S. Mint. How could such a coin have been struck? How did it escape the strict quality controls of modern minting operations? Was it an accident, a deliberate strike, or perhaps a test piece that was never meant to circulate? These unanswered questions only add to the allure and mystique of the coin, making it not just an object of value but also a piece of numismatic mystery. Now let us talk about the market implications. Coins like this remind us that treasures can still be found in ordinary places. Sometimes collectors spend years searching through rolls of pennies in hopes of finding that one elusive coin that will change their lives forever. The story of the 2002 no mint mark penny has inspired thousands of people to take a closer look at their change jars and to explore the world of coin collecting more deeply. After all, who would not want the chance to find an $84 million coin hiding in plain sight? If you are wondering how to identify one of these coins, the process is quite straightforward. You will need to carefully examine the obverse or front side of any 2002 penny you come across. Look at the area just below the date. Normally you would expect to see a D for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia. However, this special coin has distinctive features beyond the absence of a mint mark. The surface is unusually clean, the details are crisp, and the strike quality is unlike the billions of regular pennies from that year. Professional grading and authentication are absolutely essential because there are many counterfeits in circulation. Collectors today recognize this coin as one of the crown jewels of modern numismatics. The fact that it is from the 21st century makes it even more remarkable because most high-value coins are from the 18th or 19th centuries, yet here we have a penny from as recent as 2002 standing shoulder to shoulder with legendary coins like the 1804 silver dollar or the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle. This proves that the age of a coin is not always the determining factor of its value. Instead, it is the combination of rarity, condition, story, and collector demand that writes the history of value. Let us not forget the human side of this story. Imagine the original person who spent that penny without knowing what it truly was. Perhaps they used it to buy a piece of candy or left it in a tip jar without realizing it. They may have let go of a fortune worth $84 million. This thought alone adds a layer of intrigue to the legend of the coin, reminding us that history is full of chance moments and hidden treasures. As we approach the conclusion of this long exploration, let us reflect on the legacy of the 2002 no mint mark penny. It stands as proof that even in the modern era, with all of our technology and precision, errors can still occur, and those errors can become the stuff of legend. It also stands as a reminder that the humble penny, often overlooked and undervalued, can hold secrets that even billionaires would fight to possess today. If you were to ask coin experts about the future value of the 2002 no mint mark penny, many would say that its worth could continue to climb as demand for rare coins increases and as wealthy collectors compete for the few known examples. The price could one day exceed $100 million, making it a record breaker in every sense of the word. So the next time you find a penny in your pocket, take a closer look, because history shows us that extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary of places. The 2002 no mint mark 1-cent penny coin, valued today at $84 million, is living proof of that. Thank you for joining me in uncovering this incredible story of history, mystery, and value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most astonishing coins ever struck, make sure to subscribe, like, and share for more stories of hidden treasures and rare collectibles. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a penny.